Hello bookish people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and today we are kicking off my end of the year content and we are starting with a video where I'm going to be going over the authors I discovered in 2022 and loved. So these are authors that I have never read any of their work before this year, and then once I read their work I could not stop and I read a lot by them. So I have 7 authors here, and I would say 6 of the 7 authors I've read 3+ books by. One of the authors, I only read 2 of his books. I really wanted it to be 3 or more, but this one person only has 2 books in the style that I like, so we'll get to him when we get to him. But let's just get started with our first author I'm going to be talking about. So hopefully you find some authors here that you haven't tried, and now I will convince you to try them. And especially this lady, because nobody talks about her and I'm fucking obsessed with her and everybody needs to be reading her books. I think a lot of people do, but not the BookTok demographic, not my booktube people that I watch. No one reads her, but they have to. And that is Elin Hilderbrand. So let's talk. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to go over the books that I have read by these authors. I'm just going to tell you kind of why I like them and the books that I have read by them. So let's start with Elin Hilderbrand. This is what has kicked it off for me, and this is The Hotel Nantucket. This is the very first book I read by her. This was a book of the month add-on, I believe in June or July. I read it a month after, and I was captivated and in love with her stories. So what I really love about Elin Hilderbrand's work is she has multiple POV stories, and they're always just like interesting drama. Like especially in this one, there's a lot of found family elements, because in here you're dealing with a hotel, the Hotel Nantucket, and you watch the employees really just kind of become friends with each other and have that found family element again. And you see the problems that they're going through, and I like her books because the problems that her characters go through are very realistic, but a lot of times a lot of things are really crazy. So for example, like some of her family drama in this one, it's not necessarily things that I can relate to, but they're things that are really realistic and they almost make you feel better about your own life, because you're like, damn. And then what I like about her storylines as well is like you see these people go through really hard times, but yet they're like upbeat and like happy, you know what I mean? Like they're not like depressing stories, even though they could be going through depressing things. And I just love kind of books like that, because I love like seeing how characters handle things to be like, I can handle this in my life, because look what they're handling in their life, you know what I mean? I don't know, I'm weird like that. So I read this book by her. I rated it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Then I read Winter in Paradise by her. Also really enjoyed this one. I had the paperback edition, and that was in my wrap up whenever I read it, but I found a hardcover edition of it recently at the thrift store, which was amazing. So this one I also rated 5 stars. I read Winter Street by her, which I don't own, but that one I rated 4.5 stars. And then I read Winter Stroll by her, which I rated 5 stars. The only reason Winter Street is a 4.5, this is a 5, is because this series, the books are pretty short. Like this book is only 250 pages long. In the first book, I felt like I was just getting to know the characters, and I felt like the ending was kind of more open-ended. And that's why I rated 4.5 stars, because I was kind of getting to know the characters, and then the book kind of ends, but I still loved them. And in this book, you already know the characters, you're kind of just jumping right back into the story, and there's no like getting to know the characters, like learning to care about them, period. It's just like I am already invested, I already love it, so I was just captivated the whole story, and that's why I rated this one 5 stars. Now the 2 Elin Hilderbrand books I have in this stack here are actually ones I currently have checked out on Libby. My holds for these books just came through yesterday, so that is What Happens in Paradise, which is the second book after Winter in Paradise. In this series, you're following a lady, Irene, and her husband Russ died in a plane crash on St. John's Island. So she goes to the islands with her 2 sons and learns that Russ had a secret family on the island, and he was essentially living a double life. So it's about her kind of coming to terms with, her kind of dealing with the grief of her husband's death, also coming to terms with the fact that he had a secret family and all that stuff. So this is a really good series, and yeah, this is the second book. And then this one I just checked out on Libby, and this is Winter Storms, which is the 3rd book in that Quinn family quartet. So the first book was Winter Street, then Winter Stroll, then we have Winter Storms, and then after this, Winter Solace, which I cannot wait to finish this whole series because it is so good. But when I finish it, I'm going to be very sad to leave the Quinn family, because I really, really enjoy these characters a lot. So yes, I am really loving Elin Hilderbrand's books. I have quite the stack over there of books. Let's see, I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books over there by her that I have not read yet, that I have thrifted. She's like such a popular author, and she has written so many books. Like, let me look at the Hotel Nantucket just to like show you the list of books that she has written. So like I have a huge backlist of books to get through by her, and I always find her books at the thrift store, which is great because I guess she's super popular around here. So I mean, look at all those books that she's written. Look at all of them. Look at all of them. So I am so happy that Book of the Month had this as a selection, or else I feel like I wouldn't have really gotten to her work, because when I read the like synopsises for her stories, they're not ones that really captivate me. It's kind of similar to TJR, like Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm never captivated by her synopsises. Like if I was just to go based on the synopsis, I would never read her books, but I did read her books and now I love her. Like for the Hotel Nantucket, the synopsis did captivate me because I liked the idea of the hotel and everyone kind of coming together. But like her other books, I would have never read them. Like someone's husband dying on a plane crash, having a secret family, to me that just sounds like kind of boring and sad and depressing. But no, the book is so good and I'm obsessed with it, and I rated it 5 stars. So yeah, love her. I don't know where I was going with that tangent, but love her. And I need to go visit Nantucket very soon. The next author on this list is Q Sutanto. I have really loved her work this year. I read Dial A for Aunties. I read 4 Aunties and a Wedding, and then I don't have the book with me, but I read it through my library's audiobook app, and I read Well, That Was Unexpected, which was a YA romance release by her not earlier this year, but like 2 months ago, I would say. Yeah, right? I think I read it in October. So yeah, that one came out in October. I really enjoyed that book. And so I have read 3 books by her. This one I rated 4 stars. This one I rated 5 stars. And Well, That Was Unexpected, I also rated 4 stars. She has a middle grade fantasy called Theo Fox, or Theo and the Fox Spirit, or something like that. I'll put a picture of it right here. That one is a middle grade fantasy. I really want to read that book. And then she's coming out with another book in 2023. I think it's like Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murder. I'll also put that here. That one I cannot wait to read as well. So I have really enjoyed her work. I would say the only thing I would say is like the family in Dial A for Aunties in this one felt very similar to the family that was portrayed in Well, That Was Unexpected. It almost felt like you're kind of reading the same family over again, but it's fine because I really enjoy them. So in this book, in this duology, at least you're following Mehdi, and she grew up with her 4 aunties, or a Chinese Indonesian family, and Mehdi is set up on a blind date by her mom, and something goes wrong during the blind date and she accidentally kills the guy on the date. And so it's about her going home and them trying to cover up a murder, and then the body accidentally gets shipped, because they run a wedding company, and the body accidentally gets shipped to this like super rich bougie wedding that they're like throwing. And so it's about them trying to cover up the murder at the wedding and also try to deal with these high-end clients and deal with the wedding. And then she runs into Nathan, who is like her long lost love, and it's a whole thing, and it is such a good fun series. And I love the family aspect to this book. I just love like found family books, and these aren't found family because like they're actually family, but my 2 favorite things are found family and then super close families. So that's why I really enjoyed this book a lot. Like I love those families that are ride or die, will do anything for you, and they're just like super close and fun, and everyone's just themselves. And I thought this duology is really amazing. It's a lot of fun. I rated this one 5 stars, I think, because I already knew and loved the characters, so it was kind of just like saying hi to old friends, jumping back. And that's why I love series. I really want to read more series in 2023, because it's like I love just like those second books in series where you already know the characters and there's not that much work of getting to know them. It's just enjoying the ride. And yeah, these are a lot of fun. So I recommend those. And then Storm's here to say hello. Okay, let's not step on my computer. Let's not do big stretch on my computer. Thank you. He's doing like big stretch and putting his like toenails on my keyboard. Let's not do that. And almost knocked over my coffee. Let's also not do that. Okay, now he's literally playing like right here. Like here he is right here. Hopefully he stays here. What I really love about her work is like the families that she writes. But again, I would say, I guess one complaint, I don't even think it's a complaint, but I could see other people criticizing it, because people always criticize of like, oh, books feel too similar, like could the author write anything different? Personally, I go to authors for the same shit because I like their shit, you know what I mean? And I read so many books a year that I just like going back to what I know them for. And for her, it's the aunties. The aunties are the best. And even when Well, That Was Unexpected, like you still have those aunties in there, and like they're just so funny and just like over the top, and like they're just so like, I don't know, I just love them. Okay, I just love them. Q Sutanto, big fan. The next author I discovered this year and absolutely love is Hazelwood. So I read all of the things that she's ever put out. So I've read The Love Hypothesis, I read The Love on the Brain, and then I read her 3 novellas, which is Stuck With You, Under One Roof, and Below Zero. All those I loved. Those ones, my ratings varied, I think from 3 to 4.5 stars. I don't know if I rated any of them 5 stars. Although Under One Roof I really enjoyed, like looking back on it, like I loved Mara, and I loved the guy she was with in that whole situation. But I don't know if I rated it 5 stars. I don't think I did, and I think my complaints about her novellas is that they weren't novels. You know what I mean? Like I love the stories, but I didn't feel like I could get so invested because they were so short. Where both of her full-length novels, I rated them 5 stars and absolutely loved them. So yeah, I discovered her this year. I really like her a lot. I really love the love hypothesis. I love Adam. I love Olive. I love Bea and Levi. And the fact that I can say their names off the top of my head without like hesitating, it means I fucking love the book, okay? Because I am someone who barely remembers names, but I have these names ingrained into my head. I have the storylines ingrained into my head. They are so much fun. I think because I love her characters. Well, first of all, there's so much about them that is relatable. Like, I'm not like a science girl or anything, but like I find them to be like relatable and kind of like dorky and like not like that, like, oh, like supermodel girl that I feel like can be portrayed in a lot of books. They're just kind of like normal dorky, and I love that. Especially her, she has pink hair. Like I don't have pink hair right now, but if you look at my thumbnail, I have pink hair in my thumbnail, but that's because I've had pink hair on and off in my life. I've dyed my hair pink 3 times in my life. Okay, so we have a main character with like pink purple hair. Hell yeah, sign me up. So yeah, I really love these books. She just like writes nice, lighthearted, fun romances. There's nothing too serious in them. I mean, this one I really love. It has the protective boyfriend trope in here, which I fucking am obsessed with that. But this one is done perfectly and it's not overdone. Like I just read Twisted Love by Anna Huang, and it's like this one is like a more realistic version of what I like in protective boyfriend trope versus like Twisted Love by Anna Huang. You know what I mean? Like it was great. But also like is great in a book but not in real life, where these characters like great in the book and it would be great in real life too. So I really enjoyed those. I'm really excited for her next book to come out whenever it does. I am going to buy the bind up Loath to Love You. That's the bind up of all 3 novellas. That's coming out next year. I really hope there's a hardcover edition released, because I know Book of the Month is not going to have all her releases forever, but I have the first 2 in hardcover, so I'd really like the other one in hardcover as well. But yeah, so there's those. The next author on this list is going to look like 2 authors, but it's 1 author, and that is Rachel Hawkins. So those are all the books that I have read by her. So first we have Rachel Hawkins, who is Rachel Hawkins for her mystery thrillers, and then for her romance books she goes by the pen name of Erin Sterling. But first we're going to talk about her mystery thrillers. So first I read Reckless Girls. I rated it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It came out in January, but I feel like this is like a perfect summer read. So this is a book someone should have saved for summertime. And then we have The Wife Upstairs, which I rated 5 stars. I really enjoyed this one as well. I love her books so much. I don't know why. I just really love the characters in her mystery thrillers. I think because like they're like young and in their 20s, and I'm like young and in my 20s. So like, you know, there's that like relatable. Although like I don't relate to them in their like situations or how they act. I just like them because they're young and in their 20s. I don't know. I just really love these books a lot, and I really liked the storylines. I thought they were both really captivating. I was never bored in either of these books. I found all the like twists and turns in the books to be really shocking, so I really enjoyed all of them. And then in these 2 books we have Erin Sterling, so which is again her pen name. I read the X-Text in October of 2021. So technically I did not discover Rachel Hawkins in 2022, but you know what? I'm gonna say I did, because that's when I read 3 of her books, and this one I rated 2 stars and I didn't like it. I'm not gonna lie. But all of these books here we have 4-star and then 2 5-stars. So I mean, come on. I'm counting her in this video. So yeah, when it comes to her romance, I had the X-Text. I didn't really like it. I rated it 2 stars. I felt like it was very like kind of cringy, and I didn't love the romance. I felt like the romance was just kind of strange in that book. Like the setup for the romance, and then like also it was kind of like 0 to 100. I just didn't vibe with it. Her second book in the series, The Kiss Curse, I absolutely love this. This is 5 stars. In this book, you're following Gwen in Wells Penhallow, and they are in this small town, and they both run witch shops, and it's just a great book. There's something going wrong with Gwen's magic, so Wells just helps her kind of figure out what's going on, and it's just, again, small town vibes. It's very Halloween vibes as well. It's a great autumn romance book. Definitely only read this in October because that is like the perfect atmosphere to read this book. And again, I rated it 5 stars and I really, really enjoyed it. So I am really excited for more of her books to come out. I will be going through her backlist. I recently just picked up Rebel Bell, which is all the way up there. So I'll just insert a photo of it here. I recently picked up Rebel Bell at the thrift store. So I'm very excited to read this. This is like a YA. I don't know if it's fantasy, but maybe it is. I know it's just like a YA series that she's written. This is the first book. I'm very excited to read it. And again, I really enjoyed all her books. She's coming out with a book in January called The Villas, which I'm very excited to read. And I really hope she comes out with another book in her little witchy rom-com series because I'm dying to read that as well. The next author on this list, if you asked me if this author would be on my list like a month ago, I would have said no, but then I binged 3 of her books in November and now she's here, so I love her. And that is Chloe Gong. So I read These Violent Delights, Our Violent Ends, and Foul Lady Fortune all in the month of November and absolutely loved them. So this duology, I rated both of them 4 stars. I think I could be convinced to change my rating to a 5-star upon a reread if I physically read them. Because I listened to these 2 on audio and then I loved the audio so much I went out and bought the physical editions after. And then this one I did a mix of reading it audio and also reading it physically. But these 2 I really enjoyed a lot. I really love her YA fantasy because it is YA fantasy, but I think it's a little bit more complex than like your typical YA fantasy. Like when I'm thinking of like the Mortal Instruments series or like Serpent and Dove trilogy, like I'm just trying to look back, and this one is definitely more complex than your typical YA fantasy series, and there's a lot more like political intrigue in these books, and I think that's why I really like these as well. And yeah, I really enjoy her writing. I like the complexity of her books, and I also really enjoy her characters, and I love the enemies to lovers. And it was like a true enemies to lovers in this book. And what I also really love about this book is the main characters like actually like kill people in these books. Like it's not like they try to get like, oh, there's a blood feud in these families, but they try to keep the main characters pure. Like no, she goes for it, and like the main characters are also really immersed in this blood feud and actually have blood on their hands as well. So again, I really enjoyed the whole series by her. I cannot wait to keep reading all the work that she puts out, like especially in this world. And her covers are always stunning. Like look at that, stunning. Like the poison glass and like the thing at the top with the skull, and like these books, stunning. I love her. So I am really enjoying her fantasy books, and I discovered her this year. Actually, I discovered her in November. Okay, now we're getting into my last 2 authors. The first one is Adrian McKinty. So we have The Chain and The Island. Both of these books I read this year and absolutely loved. This one I rated 5 stars. This one I rated 4 stars, but looking back on it, I think I want to change it to a 4.5 stars because all my criticisms of this book still stand, but then when I think back to this book, I really only have positive thoughts of it. So I kind of want to say it's a 4.5 stars. So I really enjoy these books. In this book, you're following a family who goes on an island, and this like island that they're not supposed to be at off the coast of Australia. Something happens, and the islanders basically try to hunt them down. Then you have The Chain, where it's basically a chain reaction of this kidnapping ring. A parent's child will get kidnapped, and then they get a phone call saying, you need to go kidnap another child, and then you have to give us $50,000. So they go kidnap another child, and then they call that child's parents saying, if you want your kid back, you got to kidnap another child and give me $50,000. You know, it's like a whole chain, right? That's the title of the book, The Chain. It would not be a video if Stormo didn't walk by the camera. So this author, I've only read 2 books by him, but I am absolutely obsessed with them. And the reason I said, like at the beginning of this video, like, oh, the author I only read 2 books by, it's because he only has 2 in this style. Adrian McKinty does have more work, but they seem to be like in a broader series. This is like his only really standalone mystery thrillers, and I hope I'm not misspeaking when I say that, because I really think these are his only really standalone mystery thrillers that are like this. And yeah, that's why when he comes out with another mystery thriller book that is in this realm, like in this like similar premise, a black and red cover, like, and it's not part of a bigger series, like I will be reading his standalones. as it pertains to his bigger series, I don't know that I really want to read it. And the last author we're going to be discussing is Riley Sager, and these are not all of his books. His other book is right here. I read all his books this year, all 6 of them, so I have a reading vlog of that if you want to check it out. I will have it linked down below. So let's just go through his books. So we have Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This one I rated 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. This one I think is my favorite book by him. This is one that really like shocked me. Not shocked me, but like really actually made me scared. When I say shocked, I'm thinking about a different book. This one over here. I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say this is the first book, mystery thriller book, that's ever really given me anxiety or made me like scared. Like Mr. Shadow, Mrs. Pennyface, like those names, those characters will ever haunt my dreams. So yeah, we have Home Before Dark. I really loved it. Had American Horror Story vibes to it. I rated it 5 stars. Then we have this one. I also rated 5 stars by him. This one I really enjoyed as well. This one, I know a lot of people didn't love what happened in the book, but I'm someone who just loves a good shock. I just want my mouth to fall to the fucking floor. I want to be like, holy shit, what just happened? I love things. I don't care if it's in there just for shock value. Like, I just love shocking mystery thrillers with crazy twists and turns. That's just what I like. I don't need it to make sense. I don't need it to like, I just want to be shocked. And this book does that, and I really, really like it a lot. And then we have his other books. This one was probably my least favorite by him. This one I rated 3 stars, and I really think that's because I hate an apartment setting book. Don't know why. It's a weird thing to hate. We have these 2 I rated 4 stars, and then we have Survive the Night, which I also rated 4 stars. So as you can tell, I really enjoy his books. Like, there's nothing really that connects all of his books. Like, there's not one specific thing that I can connect all his books and say that's what I like about them, but all the books I read by him I just enjoy. Okay, there's like no really rhyme or reason. I just enjoy them. He has an easy writing style, likable. Well, not even all his characters are likable, but likable enough. Like, interesting, I guess, is a better word, because I feel like in a mystery thriller, like, characters can be very hit or miss on whether they're likable, but there's a lot of interesting characters. There's everything kind of keeps you gripped. Like, there's not much that bores me in his books. If you're telling me 6 books and only 1 I rated 3 stars, I love this author, and I can't wait for him to come out with more stuff in the future. And again, I really, really enjoy his work. So this is the last author on my list, Riley Sager, and I feel like he really deserves to be here because I actually read every book by him this year. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know any authors you discovered in 2022 and loved. I feel like I discovered some really great ones, and ones I'm going to be looking forward to the future, and I will be reading anything they release in the future. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!